They are called the double haters, the voters who don't like Donald Trump and don't like Joe Biden. And they could be the ones who decide the election. So who will convince them to vote? Will it be someone who himself has been an outspoken detractor? Perhaps someone like Senator Joe Manchin. So let's ask him. Joining us now, the Democratic senator from West Virginia, outgoing Joe Manchin. Senator, it's really good to have you. Welcome.
Well, it's great to be with you, Katie. How are you doing? We're here in Chicago, the Chicago University Institute of Politics, and they had a big conference, Bridging the Divide, and I had my dear friend Heidi Heitkamp was here, and I got to sit with my good friend Rob Portman, and we were basically explaining everything that we've been trying to do, and he and I worked together for many years, bringing the Senate together, bringing Congress together, and now with my daughter, we're working on, today we just launched Americans Together, a website we have, and we'd like for you to go on, americanstogether.com. I think you'll enjoy it, and it'll teach you and basically help you navigate what you want to change in your state and why it needs changed.
That's really interesting. I want to get to that in a moment, and I love the company you're with out there. I want to ask you something that I was talking to a voter about a little bit earlier today. A woman named Esther, who's from Iowa. I told her you were going to be on the show, and I said, if you were to ask Joe Manchin one question, what would it be? And she said, I want to know who he's going to endorse.
Well, I have said publicly that I cannot, for the love of my country, endorse or support Donald Trump. I think there's a lot of things he has done in the past that I worked with him, I liked, and tried to work with him, but there's things I'm concerned about. The democracy that we have, the rule of law, orderly transfer of power, weaponizing the judiciary, things that I think that really threaten democracy. On the other hand, they've asked me about my friend Joe Biden, who I've known for a long time. And I want Joe Biden to be the Joe Biden I've known forever, okay? Always working a deal, always wanting to bring people together, which is how he campaigned in 2020. I think his staff has taken him too far left. I don't believe that's where that he needs to be. I don't believe that's where he is internally, never has been, and love to see him come back to that. So I'm still working hard trying to see if I can help a little bit there.
So are you waiting for him to move? Is that what you're holding your endorsement for?
Well, I think he needs to move. I really do. I think that people want to say, you know, we made a mistake at the border, big mistake at the border, but he's willing to fix it, okay?
They did propose the immigration bill, which
intervene.
got nowhere. I mean, that immigration bill was a more conservative bill than liberal, and it didn't get out of the Senate.
It was a very good bill.
It didn't get in the House.
Good bill.
So, I mean, when you're asking about immigration, what more do you want Joe Biden to do?
Well, first of all, if you want to blame Joe Biden, it's his fault for what happened. But he did it for a sympathetic way, basically empathetic towards what was happening after a pandemic. He tried, and he saw we were getting overrun. We should have shut it down. So now he comes to an agreement with the Republican and Democrat bipartisan immigration. I mean, it's really a border security bill that would work. And Donald Trump moves in and says, oh, I'm sorry, can't do that because it's not good for my campaign or my politics. Let's wait. That's as bad, if not worse, than making a mistake on the beginning. So with that, I said, okay, let's fix it. I'm begging them now, if it can't be fixed in Congress, to basically do and declare a national emergency because the border is of a national concern and a national emergency.
I hear you that you're waiting for Joe Biden to move to the middle on some of these issues where you believe he's been in the past. But isn't it a binary choice? If you're talking about how Donald Trump is a threat, you said he scares the bejesus out of you. You talk about how he's not great for democracy. You just mentioned it just now. Isn't that a binary choice? Don't the policy differences with Joe Biden not really matter when you're talking about somebody else who's running against him, the other person who would win? It's one or the other.
Katie, the person who's going to win this election is the people that don't sit on the sidelines. Donald Trump has a strong base. His base is going to vote. Joe Biden does not have as strong as a base as it could be and should be. I'd want that base to be stronger. And they're not going to get stronger and more committed unless they see a movement toward the center. And it's the center left and center right where you run your life. It's where we come from. It's how we built this great country. It's the democracy we have. He's been pushed too far to the left. And Joe Biden can come back, and I think he will. I hope he does.
So have you been talking to him?
And let me say one more thing if I can, Katie. Just the energy. You know, we're more energy independent today than we've ever been in 40 years. We're producing more fossil, cleaner, and better than anywhere in the world. We're producing more energy than any place else in the world. But yet the administration can't take credit for that. Joe Biden signed a bill. He should be taking credit that we have produced more energy. We've created more jobs, more opportunities. We've invested more in new clean technology than ever before. It's the all of the above energy policy. But the far left can't accept that. They want to shut down everything in fossil, and you can't run this great country. We can help our allies and secure the world as we know it, because it's going to demand more and more energy with all the things we're doing.
Senator, have you been talking to President Biden about where you want him to be?
Oh, we have talked about it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And
So
we're
it
going to continue to talk.
It sounds like to me you're waiting, and there will be an endorsement before November, and it's not going to be Donald Trump. It just sounds like right now you're trying to use your influence and your leverage to try to move him on some issues, but that you do understand that it's a binary choice and that ultimately you're going to come out on his side. Is that wrong?
Hold up, hold up, hold up. I need to tell you this before I know where you're going.
Okay.
There is too many people that I know are sitting on the sidelines that won't vote for either one. They're the ones that have to make a choice. They're not going to make their choice. I know right now they're going to say, well, we got to play for our base, the far left base or the far right base. Donald Trump has his base secured. Joe Biden does not have his base secured. And if the far left is scaring him, making him believe, we're going to leave you if you do things more rational and more in a centrist type of approach. I'm telling you, there's people sitting not going to vote at all.
Are you
They
going
need
to
to
be
make
one
their
of
mind
them?
up, but he has to give them a reason. He has to give them a reason.
Are you going to be one of those people?
We're going to basically, hopefully, move everything back to where everyone can make a sensible decision.
But are you going to sit on the sidelines come November?
Oh, I've never sat on the sidelines, so we'll have to just wait and see how it goes.
Okay. Let me ask you, you're talking about the country needing to come to the center more. Part of the issue is that, you know this, it's gerrymandering. You can't get elected in a lot of places unless you're really extreme. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing in Congress, where you serve, especially in the House. How do you, even in the Senate, because primaries are extreme in the Senate as well, how do you move back to the center with the current system that's in place?
Katie, my daughter Heather has put together something that I didn't realize how absolutely challenging and why our country has gotten so divided. It's not the country divided, it's the politics that want you to be divided. The people in America, 55 to 60% of us, live in the middle. We are what we call common sense. We're sensible. We make decisions based on what's sensible and what works. But that's not what we're given. When you're given in Washington the extreme of one or the other, and you better pick a side. There's only one side, the American side. If you'll go to AmericansTogether.com, you can put on your state, put your district, and find out the crazy gerrymandering in your district. You want to know why it's screwed up? Go look and see the lines that were drawn.
Yeah.
And then there's no open primaries. We'll even show you in your state the primary process that you have to overcome. But until we start informing and assisting people in their states of how they can overcome this, open primaries would be great. Term limits would be great for Congress and for the Senate and for Congress and also even for the Supreme Court.
Civics,
this would all be great.
Civics is important. I think that more people need to know more about where they live and how the system works. I agree with you on that. Let me ask you one more question before we go. How do you think the House is doing, the House right now, the GOP-led House in this session? Have they done a good job?
Let's just say this. They've done a horrible job. We all have done a horrible job. Okay? But the House has basically caught themselves in a quagmire they can't escape right now. To give you the facts that we're dealing with, every Congress, a two-year term of Congress, the 117th, we're in the 118th now. So every Congress is a two-year time period. Within that two-year time period, over the course of history, we usually pass about 500 to 520 bills. To date, Katie, we've only passed 69 bills. The 117th Congress we just came out of will be one of the most productive, best Congresses we've ever had. The 118th we're in right now, with the Republicans leading in the House, will be the least productive, the worst producing for the American people that we've ever had in the history of the United States of America. I need to say no more. That's it.
Yeah, read between the lines. You're telling us who you think does a better job legislating. Senator Joe Manchin, really good to have you. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the city of Chicago. Go get some. I don't want to call it pizza. It's not pizza. It's more like a cake. But enjoy it. Enjoy it out there.
Well, it's all good. I love Chicago. It's all good, and we have a lot of friends here and a lot of co-workers. But I'm going to tell you, really, the University of Chicago's Institute of Politics is really something special. I'm proud of that.
It is a wonderful city. I do love it there. Senator Joe Manchin, also from a wonderful state, West Virginia, a place I love as well.
The best of the best.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Almost heaven.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.